Honorable members, let us pray. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic. Endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people, and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who travel to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give thanks, thoughts, and sacrifice to speed a day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, we'll move straight away to item 3. Since I don't have any message from His Excellency, the President, I have a few words to say under item 3. Honorable members, kindly lend me your ears. I heard, I read, and I saw video clips of the presentation of the Business Committee report on Friday. It was presented by the Deputy Majority Leader. He said the Business Committee had decided that we will hold a post-budget workshop, and that the venue of the post-budget workshop this year is Rock City. That, according to him, was the decision of the members, made up of members from both sides of the House. Honorable members, usually, before the decision is made on where to host the post-budget workshop, a report from a technical committee of the Parliamentary Service serves as a guide to both the leadership and the Business Committee as to where to host the post-budget workshop. That report was not yet ready, and there was no such decision taken. There was a proposal in the report of the Business Committee zoning on 2 areas, either Serene Hotel or Rock City. After the presentation of that report on Friday, the technical committee submitted the report. This is a copy of the report. And the committee assessed a number of facilities, including Rock City and Serene Hotel. They look at the facilities, the suitability or otherwise, the availability of adequate rooms and other facilities that could at least enable us to conduct an impactful post-budget workshop. This budget is a critical budget because it's coming after government or the country has entered into an agreement with the IMF. Most of the terms of the agreement, I believe, are unknown to members seated here. And therefore, it's critical that we get the usual professionals, the practitioners, the experts, to assist us digest the proposals in the budget, to give us more information and more alternatives for us to be able to deliberate and take a decision on the budget. That is why it's critical to host the post-budget workshop. Experience has shown that any time we attempted to hold the post-budget workshop in Parliament, it has not been successful. And that is why Parliament decided to be looking outside, because there have been a lot of disruptions anytime we attempted doing it on the floor of Parliament. And so a lot of members are usually not present. Those who are present can't focus because of these interruptions and disruptions. And so we've been hosting it outside the presence of Parliament. Yes, we are aware of the economic situation in the country. We are sensitive to what is happening not only in Ghana but in the world. But unless we don't want to do a good job, or the country don't want any input from Parliament, then we can decide to host it here and just let it pass. But if we have to do that, there's a need for us to get a place to take about 2 or more days to delve deeply into the budget that is to be presented. Now, the report of the technical committee looked at a number of facilities. They looked at an estimate of the participants, the resource persons, and the supporting staff, and came out with recommendations. Please, any objective person and any patriot looking at the report as a guide will not say the post-budget workshop be held at Rock City. The copy is there for everybody to come and look and read. The details are here. And as a speaker, I will not shortchange the interests of the country just because Honorable Brian Achampon is my friend. I won't do that. Please, I'm not talking about people attending or not attending. I'm talking about the right decision. And so, Honorable Member, I can identify you. Please. You don't interrupt the speaker when he's speaking. The report is here. I am tempted to go by the proposals that were made on the floor. These discussions on the floor that day ignited a public debate of the matter. And in the social media, internationally, Parliament was taken to the cleaners. And members were considered as being insensitive and greedy, and that our parliament was not responsive to the interests of Ghanaians. But there was no such decision. The thing was still under discussion. And so please, the deputy majority leader himself, after submitting a report, made a very important admonition that what we do here, we should be careful that we don't put Parliament on harm's way. He himself stated it and cautioned against statements that were made by some members in the House. But what he did himself really put Parliament on harm's way, and Parliament was lambasted for a decision Parliament has not yet taken. Please, let's always take our time and make sure that the right thing is the focus of this House. The cost implications are not what was put in the media. Even the cost implication, Serene Hotel is cheaper than Rock City. But the proposal that was made for us to host or hold it here means that we will not have to incur that much cost. It's for the House to decide whether to host it here in Parliament or Rock City is not competitive. From the report, it's Serene that has come better. That is why I'm putting it to you to take the decision. Either we do it here in Parliament or we do it at Serene Hotel. Now, I will definitely put the question for you to I don't believe that this matter is open to debate. The issue is clear. Minority Leader, what comments do you want to make?
Mr. Speaker, before you put the question, I thought it's important for me to make a point to clarify a position. Right, Honorable Speaker, the fact remains that the venue for the post-budget workshop was never discussed at the Business Committee meeting. Mr. Speaker, in fact, the draft Business Committee statement that was submitted to us prior to the meeting has nothing to do with the venue of the post-budget workshop. What we discussed at the Business Committee never had an item on where we are going to have this post-budget workshop. So, Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, on Friday, when the Business Committee statement was read before us, we were not here because we were attending the funeral of the late Madam Shirley Aite. And Mr. Speaker, I heard it later on. So I was surprised that my colleague could read here that we have agreed at the Business Committee meeting that we are holding the post-budget workshop at a particular day. Mr. Speaker, we know nothing about it. It was never discussed, and it should be made clear. And for the record, for it to be captured appropriately, that was not discussed and no position was taken at the Business Committee meeting. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, the issue about holding a post-budget workshop, not in Accra but outside Accra, has become acceptable. Because whenever we've held it here, getting participation from members becomes a difficulty. And on occasions when we attempted to do that, on 2 occasions when we've held at Gimpa, one participation was poor, and those who participated soon after the inauguration, many of them left. And others were distracted in various ways. And so we took a decision that it's better to have these workshops outside Accra. So for participation and also maintaining a focus without doing it in Accra, outside Accra, is a better option. That's what we have been doing ever since. Mr. Speaker, the issue about between Rock City and Water Serene, I think even last year came up. You are right when you alluded to the cost differential. My information was that the management of Rock City came back to say that they had given Parliament a rebate, bringing it about the same level as Water Serene. Mr. Speaker, I have no fixation wherever it's held, Water Serene or Rock City. And I've made this opinion abundantly clear anytime that you have come to discuss this. Mr. Speaker, I am a bit surprised about people saying, oh, the committee never took a decision and so on and so forth. Usually the advice will come from the table officers. And a decision is never made by any committee. It comes here to plenary. So when the draft report is read, if you accept it, it holds in the name of the House, no longer that of the Business Committee. So if the House agreed on it, it's the decision of the House. Let nobody now attempt to be revisionist in this. Mr. Speaker, so that should be the position. If the House, I was not here, Friday, I was not here, but if the House accepted it, so be it. But if, upon second thought, we want to revisit it, as I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, I have nothing against it. That is, the facilities to hold members of Parliament and so on and so, the many, many faults. But I just wanted to make that point, that the decision is not that of the Business Committee. If the report is read here and the House accepts it, it stands in the name of the House, no longer that of the committee. Unfortunately, my deputy who read the report is not even here to speak for himself. I don't want to go into it. But Mr. Speaker, as I'm saying, the decision is ours. If you want to revisit it and vary it or whatever, it is for us to do that. I thank you very much.
Exactly, Majority Leader. Your position last year and this year remains the same. And you made that clear to me, to the Technical Committee, and all those who discussed this issue with you. But the categorical statement that was made by your deputy was that the Business Committee decided, and that is why I raised that issue. The Business Committee doesn't take the decision. The Business Committee will make proposals, and the decision is taken by the House. Based on that, I now decide that I'll put the question so that the House will take the decision. Because that one is pending. There was a debate on it. The decision was not taken, and that is still pending because at that time, the Technical Committee's report hadn't been submitted. It wasn't there to guide the decision. Now it's available. So I'll put the question. We either hold it here and the disadvantages of holding it here have been made clear, First Deputy Speaker.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on Friday I presided. The report presented by the Deputy Majority Leader included the location of the post-budget workshop. Indeed, the Honourable Member for Buem, in commenting, in making us, why don't we do it here if we don't, since we don't have money? Mr. Speaker, there was no debate. There was no debate on the location or where we choose to do the post-budget workshop. Mr. Speaker, after that, this House adopted the report. If we are going to change it, then it's a revision. Otherwise, any other decision, the program of the business for this week would also come into question, because there was one question on the whole report. So I can't see how we could have taken a decision on the others, but not on the location. As to whether we want to review it or not, it's another matter. But Mr. Speaker, no debate arose and the House adopted the Business Committee's report. That's what happened. And thank you, Mr. Speaker.
First Deputy Speaker, I'm sure you were not around when I started. I referred to statements and video clips I listened to personally. Because after that, this became a subject for debate by the public. And I heard and I saw the video clip of the Deputy Majority Leader saying the Business Committee decided that the venue be Rock City. As to whether there was a debate or not, because I wasn't here, now you refer to it as comments that the Honourable Member for Biom made. But that led to a response from the Deputy Majority Leader, where he admonished members about the implications of such statements. This ignited a debate, a public debate on this matter, and it was not favorable to the House at all. If the report really contained a statement captured in the report that the Business Committee decided that the venue be Rock City, and then the House adopted it, then that is the decision of the House. The issue that is being raised is that there was no such discussion at the Business Committee meeting. And so I don't have a copy of the Business Committee report. That was not even made available to Speaker. I don't have a copy of it. Because I tried cross-checking. Is there a statement in the Business Committee report that the committee decided that the venue be Rock City? If that is so, and the House adopted it, then that is the decision of the House. And the only thing you can do is to talk about a revision. I agree with you. Please. Yes, let me listen to you. I'll come to you.
Mr. Speaker, I listened to the respected First Deputy Speaker. The difficulty, though, is that, Mr. Speaker, when people attend meetings and minutes are taken, the minutes ought to reflect what was discussed at the meeting. As said by the Minority Leader, the issue of the venue of the workshop was never discussed. So when we see the statement, the draft statement that came to the floor, and item number 5B says, budget workshop is a foreign inclusion on what actually took place at the meeting, Mr. Speaker. It shouldn't even have been discussed because it was not part of the discussions at the meeting. So we were surprised that it found its way onto what came to the floor. So as far as we are concerned, it wasn't there was no need for a decision to be made because, Mr. Speaker, as you rightly said, that decision is normally a decision of the Speaker. In the sense that when he gets the report, then that report is conveyed to the House. But at the time we were having the meeting, the report was not available, so we wouldn't have been able to make it. So, Mr. Speaker, I am very surprised. When I read item 5B, second paragraph, the workshop is expected to be held from Friday 17th to the 19th. So who made a decision that it is expected to be taken at that place? Mr. Speaker, I think we shouldn't drag this matter. This was never discussed at the business committee meeting. The House is now furnished with a decision to hold the workshop at Volta Serene, as we are told. The report I have seen here says that if it comes to the number of facilities capable of hosting Parliament and the supporting staff, without any prejudice, it says that Volta Serene is more competitive. At least with the figures in here, it shows that Volta Serene is more competitive. Anybody making decision on the use of public funds would have made an obvious choice that this is of a better value for money going to Volta Serene. But you are already in the process of putting the question whether we should go to Volta Serene or hold the workshop here. That one is a decision the House can make. So I want to plead with the First Deputy Speaker that his attempt to stop you from saying we cannot take a decision because it will amount to a revisionist activity, I respectively disagree with him. It will not be, because we have been misled to take a decision we shouldn't have taken at the time the decision was taken on Friday. Mr. Speaker, if I take the case of this thing, PDS was cancelled because the energy minister then told us that the PDS submitted fraudulent documents. That is why they cancelled the PDS. So as of the time you sign the contract, if you provided false information, that contract can be deemed to be null and void, Mr. Speaker. So we were given a wrong information, and we made a decision based on a wrong information. We have every right to revisit and take a proper decision as we are trying to do, Mr. Speaker. Those are the few things I want to say.
Honorable Member, the First Deputy Speaker did not err when he said the matter is a revision. He did not. Because even if what you said is true, that it was in the report, and the presenter of the report stated that that was the decision of the members of the business committee, and the members of the business committee were from both sides of the House. The members were present. Did they raise the issue you are raising, that this matter was not discussed and we did not take any such decision? If they didn't do that and the report was adopted as a whole, it means the decision was taken by the House. And the only thing we can do is then to come by motion to review that decision. And I think that is the position that the First Deputy Speaker took, and that is the right position. That is it. And so I decided, so I put the question for you to revise or to restate your position on the matter. That's why I said I'll put the question. I didn't want to impose my decision on the House. And this, please, it is not partisan football. No, we are going to delve into a very important document, the budget, national budget of the country. And you know the situation we are in now. So it's of serious importance to this country. Please, let me listen to, before I come to you, Majority Leader, let me listen to your able soldier.
Mr. Speaker, once the leader is up, I'll yield to him.
You yield to him. Okay, leader, please. He is yielding to you.
Mr. Speaker, as I indicated at the very outset, I said that the decision of the House certainly may be predicated on the draft report from the Business Committee. But the decision in approving of the program is made in plenary. So it can no longer rest with the committee. That's the first. So a decision has been taken. So when the Speaker was pleading that he was going to put the question as to where to hold it, I thought it was a bit incongruous. Because if a decision has been taken, then we need to rescind that decision. To put a question when a decision has been taken would amount to taking two decisions if the first one has not been rescinded. So I thought as a matter of procedure, we needed to deal with it. Mr. Speaker, I'm not too sure that the House, as I listened to my colleague, the chief whip for the minority, was misled. Mr. Speaker, I believe the minority leader just received this report. Just as this report was sent to me just a few moments ago. So none of us had this report. We depended on our technical people, the table officers, to advise us, which advice, I guess, fed into the report, which was read by my deputy in my absence. But having said so, in view of the fact that, Mr. Speaker, you are saying that it's generated a lot of heat, my advice, and I guess I will have the buy-in of the minority leader, is to entreat members that we hold the post-budget workshop here. If it's about cost, we plead with members to avail themselves. So we hold it here and not go anywhere, and not travel anywhere again. I will entreat my colleague to join ranks with me, and we move on. I thank you.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, first, the Honorable MP for Buem, the Honorable Kofi Adam, has indicated publicly that there is a need for Ghana's Parliament to consider holding the post-budget workshop here. Mr. Speaker, he said this in good faith, considering the mood of the country, considering the state of our economy. Mr. Speaker, it is only right that as members of Parliament, we attempt to save the public health. Mr. Speaker, I support the call from the Honourable Member from Buem, the Honourable Kofi Adam, that the post-budget workshop should be held here. Mr. Speaker, this is particularly important. Mr. Speaker, this is particularly important because, Mr. Speaker, clearly, we have to save the country from further expenditure. Mr. Speaker, I'm urging colleagues that in as much as we are holding the post-budget workshop here, members must also ensure that they attend. They must attend, and we should all participate fully. Mr. Speaker, oftentimes when you hold workshops here, members do not participate properly. And so, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleading with colleagues that we should all endeavor to participate and concentrate throughout the post-budget workshop while we hold it here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, we have to end this matter. And I believe that democracy has finally decided, and the people have prevailed on their representatives to decide that this year's post-budget workshop be held here in Parliament. Honourable members, it is so decided. But reporting will definitely be Saturday early in the morning, and we'll use the floor of the house as the main conference room. But the other conference rooms will serve for side workshops, and the model has changed. We are now not going to listen to lectures from experts. It will not be lectures. It will be training of trainers. You yourselves will now be trained on how to analyze budgets from sector to sector, going through the estimates yourself, drawing your attention to various alternatives, which will engender healthy debates on the floor. And so we'll be using a number of the committee rooms for this work. So please, all of you are called upon to be present, and definitely we will have a roll call every day. We will start practicing the new standing orders. Roll call will mention your name and your constituency, and mark those absent, and then action will be taken against you. So, honorable members, by the current decision of the House, we are setting aside the previous decision as per what was presented by the Deputy Majority Leader as the position of the Business Committee. And this is in respect of the venue for the post-budget workshop, not the whole report of the Business Committee. It is so decided. Now, honorable members, I want to plead with you for us to move to item 5, urgent question, because sorry.
Mr. Speaker, we have another issue to deal with. Mr. Speaker, last week we decided that the National Security Minister will be here to respond to an issue raised by our colleague from Garu. Indeed, in the presentation of the business statement, we are told that the Deputy Leader made a comment that since government have decided to release those who were detained during the disturbances at Garu, there was no need for the National Security Minister to be here. Indeed, it was a decision taken, that one was a decision taken at the Business Committee. So, it is also another confusion. A Business Committee took a decision that the National Security Minister will be here. Then that issue is brought here, and a declaration is made that the Minister ought not to be here because an action had been taken by government, which we applauded. That is, those who were arrested have been released, but they are just released on bail. So, Mr. Speaker, whilst the Minister is here, if he wouldn't mind, maybe making some comments on the situation in Garu, because I know my colleague and his people were ready to listen because it's not on the business statement, like the other paper, Mr. Speaker. A statement.
Anyway, Honorable Minority Chief Whip, you might have discussed this at the Business Committee meeting, but it doesn't seem it was captured by the Business Committee report. So it was not a matter before the House, and no such decision was taken. Now I've been given a copy of the Business Committee report, and it's not there. We have the Minister with us. Definitely, if what we are saying is true, the Minister will confirm, and that will be the end of the matter. So I will still insist that we take the question, the Minister will answer, and then that will be it. We don't need to banter over this. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, in respect of that very matter, I think the position was that the Minister should come and make a statement on that. That is why it's not captured. So it's not a question to the Minister. It's rather a statement from the Minister, and that's why he's being here all day. So I think he could be, the value is about the same.
Majority Leader, you are saying that the Minister is here to make a statement.
Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, I think there was a bit of maybe miscommunication. But my understanding of what transpired was to invite the Minister to come and talk to the issue. That is maybe by way of a statement. Just like we had also agreed that the Minister of Energy, DRA, should also come and make a further PowerPoint presentation to us today. And it's not captured here, but the agreement was made internally. So, Mr. Speaker, that is my understanding of what transpired.
Well, the Minister is with us. Could we allow him to make the statement? Yes. So, please, let's take item 7. Statements. Honorable members, following from what just transpired, I want to grant the Minister for National Security to make a statement on the matter, or as the Majority Leader put it, talk to the issue. So please, Minister, you may do so now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on Tuesday, October 24th, the Ministry of National Security deployed a team of 5 counter-terrorism intelligence officers for a critical operation in Garu in the Upper East region. Upon their arrival in Garu, the team was besieged by some Irish youth who were armed with weapons, including AK-47 rifles, among others. Mr. Speaker, despite initial attempts to introduce themselves as national security personnel, the Irish youth proceeded to attack the officers by firing multiple gunshots at a black Toyota Land Cruiser in which the officers were seated. Mr. Speaker, following an escalation of the attacks on their vehicles, the officers drove to the Garu police station to seek refuge. The Irish youth then pursued the officers encircled the police station and fired multiple shots at sight. The timely intervention of personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces enabled the safe evacuation of the national security personnel from the Garu police station. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, the House will agree with me that the attack on the national security personnel and also the Garu police station was reprehensible and must be condemned in no uncertain terms. Mr. Speaker, in many other jurisdictions, such attacks on security personnel in the course of their legitimate duties would be classified as an attack on the state. Mr. Speaker, subsequent to all this, on Saturday, October 28, 2023, the Ministry of National Security and the Ghana Armed Forces conducted a joint operation in Garu to seize weapons used by the Irish youth groups to attack the national security personnel. Mr. Speaker, in the aftermath of the joint operation, reports have emerged in respect of some excesses by the personnel who conducted the operation. Mr. Speaker, this aspect of the matter is currently before the court. It would therefore be inappropriate for me to comment on the matter as it would amount to contempt of court. That said, however, I would like to urge honorable members of the House to please exercise circumspection in discussing the matter for some three reasons. First, Mr. Speaker, because of the dire security situation we are confronted with in Boko as a result of the existing ethnic conflict in that area. Second, because of counter-terrorism operations going on in the area. And third, Mr. Speaker, because of the need to not to demotivate and demoralize our state security personnel. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the Honorable House of the continued cooperation and respect for the pieces of advice and guidance that we continue to get from honorable members. And I want to thank honorable members for the audience. Thank you.
This actually is a difficult one. If the minister has simply stated that the matter is now sub judice, and therefore he is not in the position to comment on it, that would have ended it. But when the minister narrated a version that came to his attention, now we'll have to state a version. And I'm not too sure how their version will be presented because of the situation. That's why I've been a bit quiet as to how to handle this matter. But I cannot also deny the people's representatives their right to be heard. And so I will limit it to only the members from that constituency. Garu and Timpani were together. So, no, Bongo has never been part of Garu Timpani constituency. No, Bongo is not part of Garu Timpani. So, I'll allow Garu and I'll allow Timpani. No, I will not allow the whole of Upper East.
The traditional area, the Kusasi traditional area.
The caucus leader. So I shall allow only the caucus leader. Please, let me just allow the members from those constituencies. Luckily, it's a gentleman and a lady, and I'm sure they are capable to present the version of their constituents. So let's start with the lady.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, the gentleman has become a lady. Yes, please. You hold your fire. After the lady, it will be your turn. Yes, please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to ask the Minister for National Security some few questions. Right Honorable Speaker, I am actually in pain. My people are living in fear and anxiety. My first question to the National Security Minister is, you know that from Garu Police Station to Buguri is 20 kilometers.
Honorable Member,
from
you
the
are to
scene of the crime.
You are to comment on what the minister has just said. It's not time for questions.
Okay.
Comment on what the minister has just said. I'm sure you heard him.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to make some few comments on the statement of the National Security Minister. From Bogre to Garu Police Station, where the incident happened, is 20 kilometers away. And I am sure the National Security Minister is aware that Buguri is different from Garu. And I don't understand why the people of Buguri were mercilessly beaten because of an issue that happened in Garu Police Station. Again, it is assumed, or it is all over, that when you see something, say something. When you hear something, say something. The people have seen a car that is not familiar with the terrain, and they have reported to the police station, and it has become beaten. And I also want to comment on the fact that the people that have been beaten, maimed, brutalized, most of them are currently in the hospital. Few of them have been discharged, but some of them are still nursing their wounds. And I want to bring it to the attention of the National Security Minister that the people who are sick are having issues with their medical bills and need to be treated. The people who have been beaten need the National Security Minister more explanation than the comment that he has given us. The people that has been beaten and brutalized need compensation. In your statement, you said that it was excesses of the national security or the military.
Honorable Member, just a minute. First Deputy Speaker to take the chair.
Our member, please continue.
Okay, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. National Security Minister, I will believe that by now you have taken note of what is going on, and I want to make few recommendations to the statement that you have made. You mentioned that the issue is before court and we don't need to talk about it, but I will believe that with these few recommendations, it will help us. One, we need an independent investigation into what has happened. Two, we need the people who are nursing their wounds to be helped to treat themselves. And three, you know that somebody is dead. I believe by now it has been brought to your attention that somebody is dead. I know also that you know that some people are still being hospitalized, and we believe that you should help them to get well. And three, the people that have been beaten need compensation. But above all, we need an apology as people of Garuk and Timpani. Most especially the people of Timpani, because they were not in the crime scene. They were just beaten by circumstances of your people. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I also thank the Minister for at least honoring the invitation to come and brief this House. I was saddened when I heard earlier the Deputy Majority Leader, who on this floor said that the matter has been brought to close. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I want to state that the facts on the ground is at variance with what the Minister is briefing this House. That the people were in the car and which was shot at. My checks on the ground doesn't prove that that is the fact. My checks on the ground also prove that the youth who met the car on the 24th evening helped them, escorted them to the police station. It was at the police station that after the police commander, the BNI and all other security heads in the place didn't know anything about the presence of the people in the place. That led to some suspicion. And then the youth then insisted that they wanted to search the car. It is that altercation or that kind of argument that brought some kind of heat. As at the time, the police commander of the station, the BNI, the DCE, I personally spoke with the DCE, and then even the regional minister, none of the security heads in the area knew about the so-called national security presence in the place. And the other fact is that let it be known that as at the time that the car was shot at, there was no anybody occupying that car. The commander had moved them to to the counterbar for investigation. So these are very clear facts. Now, what I'm not too happy about, I was expecting that in the course of the minister's statement, he should at least acknowledge the excesses that were done by the military and the fact that a life is lost. As we speak, somebody died. We took the pains to do an autopsy. It is proven that the person died out of the injuries that I have that medical report from for a postmortem. Let it be known that the youth in the area, we don't have any vigilante youth. I've heard it reported in your preview. We don't have a vigilante group in Garuk. The youth are harmless youth who suspected, based on the national security slogan and the call for people to say, when you see something, you should say something, that they really they saw a strange car. They approached them. They were parked at a dark corner from Garuk town towards Boku. You see, and that route is a route that people suspect that they carry arms along the route. That was the reason why the youth were insistent that they wanted to search the car. And it is the issue of the searching of the car and the fact that leadership of the security forces, let's say the DCE, BNI, and commander, didn't know anything about these people. That is what raised the suspicion. And that's what led to the people insisting that they needed to search the car. They saw some guns in the car. They also saw some ammunition in the car. They also saw some bulletproof in the car. So, based on the fact that you had the security leadership in the district saying they didn't know anything about them, and the fact that they had seen this, and then they are, like you confirmed in your statement, that we have contention in Boku, which is very close to Garuk. These are the facts. These are what that heightened the tension and the suspicion. And so, one, nobody harmed anybody in the place. I'm hearing all manner of stories. They were not harmed, to say the least. They were peacefully escorted. The police commander, if he's truthful, he will tell you that the people were peacefully escorted into their police custody, and the car was left parked out. So this whole thing started somewhere around 10, 11 in the evening until the following day. So if the youth were that arrogant and very violent as people want us to believe, I don't think that when they met them, they would have escorted them to the place in peace. So one, we are very unhappy and very frustrated the way the military behaved in Garu. Several people have broken arms and broken legs. Somebody has, the one who died, according to the autopsy report, he had a broken skull and 2 broken ribs. Honorable Minister, if this is how military retrieve arms, and we want to know, like you said, it's in the court, and we are all eager to hear. We want to find out how many arms that were retrieved from Garu and Bugri, if there is any at all. I think that the Minister and National Security, the architecture, I can't question the way you approach. But Garu and Bugri or Tempani is a rural area. We don't have so many V8 cars in the area. Therefore, when you see a car like that, where the police commander, police are not aware, BNI officer not aware, the regional chief, the district chief executive not aware, the regional minister himself not aware, is questionable, Mr. Minister. And so these things should be watched going forward. But to say the least, the military style of retrieving arms, which we witnessed in Garu, is most unfortunate. I'm sorry to say this. It's most unfortunate that retrieving arms, you beat and kill, maim people. Is that how to retrieve arms? If you are retrieving arms, you need information. The style that they ransacked, they did a swoop, ransack, beat people, and maim people and kill some finally. Let's ask ourselves, is that how to retrieve arms? Let's be sure whether the one that they killed, whether there was an arm reach on the person. I am most disappointed in the approach of the military, and then to say the least, the people of Garu and Tempani and Bugri, we are heartbroken, and we call on the minister, we call on Parliament to launch a full-scale investigation into this, a probe, and let the facts be known to Ghanaians, because this military approach of always beating people mercilessly is one too many in the country. And I don't think that is how. The other thing I want to call on government to do is to ensure that military is not trained for internal security. That is not their work. And so if you use them to do the wrong exercise, they will give you wrong results. Thank you very much.
Does anybody want to comment on this side? Very well. Yes, Honorable Minister, do you want to say anything else? You agreed on 2 each. Don't change the rules after. Yes, leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker, we agreed on 2, but we also, obviously, we had to allow the leadership comment. And we had proposed that a senior member, Honorable Boka, will speak on behalf of the leadership. So kindly, please allow Honorable.
Kindly, I'm not aware that you agreed beyond 2, please. What you agreed is what I go by, please. Yes, Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to thank the honorable members for the comments that they have made. Mr. Speaker, responding to the specific allegations that they make, I believe will not be in order. This matter is still in court, and I'm sure all the issues that they have come up with will be among the issues that will be discussed and taken care of in the court. So I just want to take the opportunity to thank them for their comments I've taken note of their comments as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Shall we return to question time now? Item 5, urgent question. Yes, Leader.
Let me kindly take you back. I don't think that we dealt with the votes and proceedings. I think we varied the order of business and came back. So I will entreat you to kindly let us go back.
We haven't done vote and proceedings.
Not at all, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Thank you for reminding us. Honourable members, item 4, correction of votes and proceedings. Page 1. The votes and proceedings for Friday, November 10th, 2023. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Are you on your feet? Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Yes, Honourable Leader.
Honourable Speaker, on Friday I was present with the minority leader. Unfortunately, we marked absent. So the table office, please correct.
Very well. The table office will take note and correct the vote. Page 8. Page 9. Yes, Honourable.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just to draw attention to the communications from His Excellency the President, your guidance on this matter, Mr. Speaker, the New Zealand Prime Minister, the Right Honourable, we only have Chris Hipkins here. Since these are official records, his full name is the Right Honourable Christopher John Hipkins. And the Speaker, same for the President of the Paris Peace Forum. The full name is Mr. Jose Angel Gurria Trevino. What we have here, just the middle name, Angel Gurria, but it's Jose Angel Gurria Trevino. So if we can kindly reflect that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. The table office will verify the full names and effect the correction. Thank you. Page 10. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, ordinarily, I shouldn't raise this under page 10 because the Speaker himself directed, subject to your own input and that of others, regarding what was said by the Deputy Leader and the adoption of the business statement. Therefore, sequentially, that is where it should now find space. That whatever Speaker directed you, it finds sequence in the correction on page 10, in particular the item 9 on the business statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry, I don't get exactly what you mean. Item 9, page 10, business statement. Yeah, is that what should happen there?
Speaker, you know this is where the matter of somebody misled, there was no misleading, there was declaration of venue for post-budget workshop and others. Subsequent to that and your own reaction, the Speaker made a certain directive. That direction will reflect in a correction on the adopted position on item 9. I don't know if I've been able to get you.
Maybe you may want to explain.
We have adopted the business statement.
Yes.
Today's proceedings have reviewed our position on the business statement.
Now, should we change anything here? This is a true reflection of what happened on that day. The decisions today will come in the votes and proceedings for tomorrow. Yes. Thank you very much. Page 11. page 12, page 13, page 14. Honourable members, subject to the corrections made, the votes and proceedings of Friday, 10th November 2023 is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I may want to indulge you. I just walked to conclave to mention to Mr. Speaker and the Majority Leader that I intend to invoke Order 72 to make an urgent statement on a matter, Mr. Speaker, which should be of particular interest to you and the House. So with your indulgence and the leave of the House, Mr. Speaker, the Supreme Court have ruled that sections of the Companies Code Act of 2019 is inconsistent with the 1992 Constitution and have accordingly expunged sections of the Companies Act on a matter raised by Derek Edu Jamfi. Mr. Speaker, I'm raising this one to celebrate the Supreme Court in recognizing that within the remit of separation of powers, where powers' responsibilities have limits, this House, the Parliament of Ghana, is reminded that our authority is not sovereign and that whatever we do in this chamber, we are subject to the Constitution and subject to the checks and balances of the Supreme Court. And in commending Edu Jamfi, Mr. Speaker, I've had to raise this because the Companies Code, as you know, as a respected lawyer, has a lot of consequence on investment. Our investment climate, the attraction of investment, who qualifies to be a director, who does not qualify to be a director. And Mr. Speaker, to be specific, the Supreme Court have ruled that sections 2HI, 2HII, 2AI of section 13, 172 and 177 of the Act are unconstitutional and violate the principles of fair hearing, among others. And Mr. Speaker, again, I'm raising it because when it comes to exercising the legislative authority of this country, we are vested with the mandate. We are clothed with it under Article 93, but with limitations. Mr. Speaker, the third word which the Supreme Court have ruled on is that in passing the Companies Code, we use the word when a person is charged with an offense and not when the person is convicted for an offense. Mr. Speaker, words matter when it comes to legislation. So the Supreme Court is saying that the Parliament of Ghana in 2019 erred in the use of the words when a person is charged with an offense, because presumptuously it means that we are not even giving that person, so qualified to be director, an opportunity for fair hearing and an opportunity as an innocent person undergoing trial within the meaning of Article 19C. So, Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, may I quote 19C and then I'll rest the Constitution, Article 19C, which is on presumption of innocence. So, Mr. Speaker, and by this, and with your indulgence, I quote 19C, and I say I find comfort in the fact that yourself, you are very familiar with our legal landscape. Mr. Speaker, Section 19, Article 19C is a person, and I read, a person charged with a criminal offense shall be given a fair hearing within a reasonable time by a court. Emphasis, they presume to be innocent until he is proven or has pleaded guilty. So, Mr. Speaker, the Companies Code we passed, we said that if a person is charged for an offense, that person does not qualify to be director. We ate. We should eat our humble pie. And by this inviting the learned Attorney General to come urgently to this House with proposed amendments to the Companies Code so that we right those wrongs that have so been recognized by the apex court of the land, in order that we have a Companies Code that can govern our business environment in Ghana and allow persons duly qualified by law and by the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, it means that in Ghana, our institutions are working and our institutions are responsive, that the Supreme Court of Ghana thinks that where this Parliament is and exercises our authority in excess of the 1992 Constitution, we are reminded that we will be checked. And Mr. Speaker, to the leadership of the House, whether I know government business is normally government business, when you come to this House, don't rush us through legislation. Mostly when you bring legislation and you want it passed within 24 hours, this is what you get. Because, Mr. Speaker, I've heard you personally, I've heard the Honorable Chairman personally, I've heard Bagman as leader personally, I've heard myself. We have always said that don't change the words in the Constitution if you are importing same into a bill. But in this particular matter, this is how we act. So, Mr. Speaker, I thought that I should bring this matter as a matter of public interest in order that we have an appropriate governing legislation and legal framework that guides the business environment in Ghana. And for Parliament to accept that we erred, as rightly observed by the Supreme Court of Ghana, to commend them for ensuring that we do not operate in a manner which is excessive to the 1992 Constitution, and commend the person who walked to the court to test the supremacy of the Supreme Court over the matter. I so do, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for your indulgence.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. And I want to commend the Honorable Member, Honorable Haruna, for bringing this matter up as an urgent matter for the House to have a look at. Mr. Speaker, yes, indeed, the Supreme Court is another arm of government charged with the sole responsibility of constitutional interpretation and other matters that they have jurisdictional power over. Mr. Speaker, it is always in good taste that there are always checks and balances in our democratic dispensation. And so it is not surprising that this House has erred. In fact, we are humans and we are born to err. And not allowing that mistake to stay in our books. That is why we've had the Supreme Court also have a look at the matter and have an interpretation. I remember in 2019, the bill that was brought before the House, which is the Companies Bill. The Speaker, if you all remember, it was a very, very bulky document, and I remember that vividly. I am not making excuses for this House. What I'm trying to say is the volume and the quantum of work that was brought onto the House at that time probably might have caused an oversight on our part, which in turn infringes on the right of everybody to a fair hearing, as rightly quoted by Honorable Haruna Idrisu in Article 19 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, even going further to that is the rule of natural justice. It's not a matter of just having being charged of an offense and not convicted. Even when you're charged, the rules of Odi Alteram Partem and the rules of natural justice actually guarantees every person or citizen of this country a fair hearing. Each part of the applicants and the respondents in the matter deserve the right to be heard. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to over-buttress the point that indeed the Supreme Court has done a great job, and the Attorney General, I'm sure, has heard the ruling of the Supreme Court and will do the needful and bring a proposed bill only to amend that portion of the Companies Code, the Companies Act. The Companies Code we used over so many years without amendment. And the first time we were amending the code was that bulky document that we all had to go through. Clause. I also want to add my voice to what Honorable Haruna Idrisu has said. Parliament, we should be diligent. We should work when it comes to bills. Agree with me. When it comes to bills, this House is virtually empty. When it comes to considering bills clause by clause, you see a few of our colleagues in the House participating in the process. But I think it's not only meant for people with legal background as properly fixed bills or to pass laws. We're all here to do so. And so I entreat each one of us to do our work properly, and by ending, commending the Supreme Court for such a brilliant observation and ruling that is intended to enhance the bill or the law that we pass for the people of Ghana. I thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, I think this is just for information, drawing our attention to what has happened. Truly, Honourable Member for Tamale South ought to have discussed this with the Speaker before coming here. I don't know whether he did, but what is important for me is that for us lawyers who were members of the House at the time, this shouldn't ordinarily have escaped us. We are grateful to the Supreme Court that they have observed this. But I don't think we need to do anything more. It doesn't even have to do anything more. This is no longer part of the law, period. That if you're charged, just because you're charged, you lose your right to be a member. That's what I said, yes.
Mr. Speaker, you might for giving me the opportunity. It's rather unfortunate that it has escaped some of us. The Speaker, I was involved in the company's bill becoming a law. I'm surprised that this has escaped the committee of experts, the winnowing committee, as well as the entire House. The Speaker, the word that we were supposed to use was convicted, not charged, because we all know that all suspects are deemed innocent until proven to be guilty of the offense. So it is only when you are convicted with an offense involving dishonesty or moral turpitude that you can be disqualified from becoming a director. So though the provision is struck out by the Supreme Court, there will be an urgent need for an amendment so that instead of using the word charge, we use the word convicted for an offense involving moral turpitude or dishonesty, fraud, among...
Honourable, do you have a copy of the Companies Code here?
I don't have the company.
The lawyer who did the case put it out on the lawyers' platform in the Shantou region. So the word there we used charge, convicted, and so on. So the Supreme Court only struck out the charged. The rest stands clean. And so I don't think we need to do it. But I think the lawyers can get together around it.
Yes.
Look at the judgment.
We need to look at it because it's as if the whole section 13 to...
No, but I think it's those words
affected.
Which ought not to have been there.
Very well.
Which will become the issue. But I think the lawyers can gather around it, look at the judgment and advise.
Well. If there need be, then we do the necessary amendment.
Yes. I think there's really, you won't say anything different from your brother. Yes.
If I let the record reflect that, Speaker, this matter was raised at the committee level in Koforidua. That's where we met. And I raised the matter.
and I was told that I can relitigate it on the floor. I did indicate that the merely charging the person could not be a ground. This is about incorporation of a company. The person could not apply. And I said that no, we couldn't have done that. So at least in the genre of the words we are using, we could take out charge. It is when the person is convicted, even upon conviction and a fine, the Constitution even sets a time limit upon which after that period, the person is free to participate in our public space. All sorts of defense were put up, and I was shut down. And this is not the only case that the work of this House has been called into question before the Supreme Court. So, like the Honorable Minority Leader, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu said, we should be careful when it comes to legislation because it's not all of us who are interested. So the few of us who spend time to do the work, we should be allowed to further interrogate the issues thoroughly before we pass. And
it's a pity you didn't raise it on the floor, because I remember I was presiding throughout those proceedings. I'm sure that if you had brought his attention to the floor, we would have struck it out. But it's okay. Let's move forward. See if there's anything we must clean. Yes, leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it does appear that it's not just about a word. According to the report here, the subsections 2H, 2HI, 2H, a number of them, about 4 subsections, with section 13, 172, 17, etc., etc. So many of them are asked to be struck out. So it's not just the simplicity of a word. It looks like there's a direct application to the meaning and application of those sections contrary to the Constitution. So I think that it should be looked at more thoroughly than just saying that one word is the reason. A number of sections here are said to be struck out.
Very well. As I said, the Constitutional and Legal Committee, I've been brought back to that committee, so I can join and let's discuss in detail what is yes. Yes, Leader.
Honourable Speaker, thank you. Let me thank the MP for Tamale South. But I wanted to make one very important point, and it had to do with, yes, Parliament might take responsibility, but obviously this bill came from the executive arm of government. And I have the experience of having brought a bill, and we had to withdraw it after certain things that we found out later. It is very, very clear that as we take responsibility for this error, which has been explained, and often it is because sometimes the last week or the last 2 weeks of when we have to rise, when we are loaded with so many bills that we have to deal with. And that's why certain things will not be caught. But as we are taking responsibility, I think this call also goes to the executive arm of government, especially the Attorney General's office. They must be diligent. It's obvious that this is how it came, and it's because we couldn't catch it. That's why it passed. And so we must take responsibility. It also calls for the need for capacity building for members of parliament, especially when it comes to bills. It's really an issue that must be discussed. And so that we can really ginger the interest of members when it comes to lawmaking. I've listened to the majority leader often talk about the frustration of having few people deal with bills. And often you will see that the House is left with 3 or 4 people who have interest. How do we really address that issue and really bring out the interest of members, especially new members of parliament? I think on this issue we have to revisit and address it. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. We shall proceed. Now I come to item 5. Leader, sorry.
Speaker, I just caught the tail end of this matter, and I guess it's the matter which attracted the ruling from the Supreme Court on the Companies Act. Speaker, I think it's most unfortunate that maybe these things got under the radar. Speaker, you bear with me that I've always been insistent that when we come to import a principle from the Constitution, we should employ the language of the Constitution. And once you do that, you are good to go. I think, unfortunately, in this particular instance, I don't know how we missed it, because I was following the smithing of that bill. I was really following, and we got a small band of people who were always with us, trying to do what was right. And I would cite the Honorable Bernard Ahiafo and the Honorable Anyimedu. I'm not too sure of the Honorable Rosen Dafiamepo, who intelligent, I would say, visitations to the committee. But, Mr. Speaker, I think it's just one word that we missed. Whereas the Constitution uses the word convicted, we use charged. So we can bring it back, maybe just so that we get it right. If we have the full ruling from the Supreme Court, and then we'll compare, and then just amend those two portions. That would be good. I don't think that it calls for any serious interrogation. It's just the usage of the words conviction and charging. So we'll do what is right and appropriate. Mr. Thank you.
Very well. Point well taken, well made. Now, we had not done the official report. Honourable members have the official report of Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. Any corrections, please? Official report, Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. Any corrections? Very well. In the absence of any corrections, the official report of Thursday, November 2nd, 2023, is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Item 5. Questions. Urgent questions. The Attorney General. Yes, leader.
If we could vary the order of business and deal with the presentation of papers, and I guess we could finish very early, especially if we box all of them into one basket and do the presentation.
Which item, please?
Item 8.
8.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Presentation of papers. Very well. Yes, minority. Yes.
Speaker, I have no objection.
Very well. At the commencement of public business, item 8, presentation of papers. Are we taking all of them?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Item 8. 8A. That the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources. Yes. You only bow. Bow from wherever you stand. Yes.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Community Water and Sanitation Agency for the year 2022.
The paper as duly presented is for distribution to members. Item B, by the Minister for Communication and Sorry, it's not a report. It's a new paper. Very well. It's referred to the Committee on Water Resources, Works and Housing to consider a report. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I agree that the papers should be late. With the assumption that the ministers were here. Now, I see about 5 ministers that are supposed to lay this paper. Can the majority leader explain to us the whereabouts of these ministers, please?
Kindly, let's take them. The Minister for Water Resources laid her paper. Now we'll come to Minister for Communication and Digitalization. Yes, Honorable Majority.
Mr. Speaker, there is a meeting which is ongoing now to try to dot some I's and cross some T's in respect of the budget. And the ministers have been summoned to a close meeting on that. Mr. Speaker, so if my colleague doesn't mind, I could do the presentation of the others on behalf of the ministers before I myself exit to join them.
So speak under the circumstances, I think.
Very well. Yes, Honorable Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. The papers are duly presented. Sorry, you may read that before.
Okay. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the National Communications Authority for the year 2021.
Then item II.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the National Information Technology Agency for the year 2022.
Honourable members, the papers are duly presented. They are referred to the Committee on Communications to consider and report. Item C, by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources for the year 2021.
The report is duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Lands and report. Item D, by the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration for the year 2021.
Paper is duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Foreign Affairs to consider and report. Item E, the Minister for Railway Development.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ministry of Railways Development for the years 2020 and 2021.
Papers are duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Roads and Transport to consider and report. Item F, by the Minister for Health.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency for the year 2021.
The paper is duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Health to consider and report. Item G, by the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development.
Mr. Speaker, if I may composite all those of them under G.
Yes, all of item C, I to V, I.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council for the year 2021. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Shai Osudoku Assembly for the year 2021. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the German North District Assembly for the year 2021. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the 10 District Assembly for the year 2021. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the TBC Development Company Limited for the year 2020. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Gan East Municipal Assembly, Abokobi, for the year 2021. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Kwando Municipal Assembly for the year 2021. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Gan Central Municipal Assembly for the year 2022.
The reports are duly presented. They are referred to the Committee on Local Governance to consider and report. Item H, by the Minister for Education, and you may take all of them together, I to XII.
Mr. Speaker, just before that, I think for G, Roman number 2, it is the Shai Osudoku District Assembly. I think there's an omission there. That is why it's Suda, Shai Osudoku District Assembly.
Very well. Point is well noted.
So H now.
H.
Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana Regulations 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the St. Teresa's College of Education, Pohwe, for the year 2021. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Whole Technical University for the year 2021. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Student Loan Trust Fund for the year 2021. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the EP College of Education, Amejope, for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Presbyterian College of Education, Ekropon Ekwapim, for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the University of Education, Winneba, for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the SD Dambol University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, WA, for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Whole Technical University for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the University of Professional Studies, Accra, UPSA, for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the University of Ghana for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Macquarie College of Education, Nandoli, for the year 2022.
The reports are duly presented. They are referred to the Committee on Education to consider and report. Honourable members, item HI, Roman 1, is different. That's a regulation. So I refer item HI to the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation to consider and report. Very well. Yes, Leader.
If I could do 9 for the Minister.
But before you proceed, Leader, let me direct that having regard to the state of the business of the House. The House sits outside the regular sitting hours. Yes.
If I could do 9. Item 9.
Item 9, presentation and first reading of bills. Minister of Environment, Science and Technology. Yes, Honorable, I saw him here.
An act to amend and consolidate the laws relating to environmental protection, establish the Environmental Protection Authority to regulate, protect and manage the environment, to provide for pesticide control and regulation, to provide for control, management and disposal of hazardous waste, electrical and electronic waste, and for related matters.
The bill is still presented. It is referred to the Committee on Environment, Science and Technology to consider and report. Yes, Honorable Leader.
Speaker, I believe we can recline to question time. Questions?
Very well. Members, we return to private business and we are on item 5. Urgent question to be answered by Attorney General for Justice. Sorry?
Mr. Speaker, when he was ready, the Attorney General was ready. I think the House wasn't ready. So he said we'll join him. In the meantime, we can do the...
Very well. So we go to item 6 then. Questions. To be answered by the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources. Question number 290 by the Honourable Member for Keta, Takwame.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise
to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources the steps taken so far in addressing non-availability of potable drinking water for the people of Anyako, Konu, and Seba communities.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Konu, Seva, and Anyako are communities in the Keta constituency, currently supplied from community-managed boreholes and private hand-dug wells. These boreholes and hand-dug wells are unable to meet the water needs of the communities due to mainly to the poor groundwater quality and poor yields from the existing boreholes. Mr. Speaker, the water supply challenges to these communities were recently brought to the attention of the Ministry for redress, and I tasked the Ghana Water Limited to assess how these communities could be supplied with water. Mr. Speaker, samples taken in a preliminary assessment done by the Ghana Water Limited indicates that some private boreholes at Heluve, a community which is 4 kilometers from Anyako, have good water quality that can be explored to supply potable water to the three communities. Mr. Speaker, to address the water supply challenges within the communities, Ghana Water Limited intends to implement in the short, medium, and long term the following interventions. 1. Short term, build 2 mechanized boreholes at Helovi and undertake pipeline extension works from Helovi to Anyako, Konu, and Sebe to improve water supply to the communities within those areas. Works are expected to commence when funds become available. The project is estimated to cost 1.2 million Ghana cedis, and it will be funded using Ghana Water Limited internally generated fund. Mr. Speaker, under the medium-term intervention, we intend to drill 5 additional boreholes and build auxiliary structures to ensure sustainable water supply to the communities within that enclave at an estimated cost of 5 million Ghana cedis. And this will also be funded by our RGF under the Ghana Water Limited. Mr. Speaker, in the long-term intervention, we intend to add a new 20,000 cubic meters per day, that is 4.4 million gallons per day, water treatment plant at Agodome, as part of the second phase of the Qatar water supply expansion project to supply some beneficiary communities, which will include these 3 communities and their environs. Mr. Speaker, in addition to the project, about 100 kilometers of diameter 700 millimeter transmission pipeline, as well as storage reservoirs, and 100 kilometers of varying sizes of distribution pipelines will be constructed at an estimated cost not exceeding 100 million euros to increase water production to meet water demand up to the year 2045. Furthermore, the carrying capacity of some existing distribution pipelines will be improved, as well as upgrade the pump capacities of some booster pumping stations. Ghana Water Limited is currently engaging some investors who have expressed interest in developing the project with funding from our donor partners. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank the Minister for providing this answer. Mr. Speaker, this is a house of record. And then when you look at the answer provided, first paragraph, they say several Anyakokun communities in Keta municipality currently supplied from community-managed borehole and private hand-dug wells. Mr. Speaker, as I speak to you, there is no community borehole in Seva, Konu, and Anyako. These are the people who are relying on the tankers who have been providing them with their yellow gallon, 3 cedis every day. So as I speak to you, there's no borehole, there's no private dugger. So I would like to find from the Minister, those who provided this answer, are they being truthful to this guest house? Because
This is not true. I would like to, this is a house of record, so I would like to find out from the minister.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm also surprised that the Honourable Member of Parliament is saying it's not true. So both of us will have to do a cross-check and report back to this House. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. These are communities about more than 60 years, no water. They rely on the tanker to supply them water. And this is my constituency. And that community, I know that community than many of here. So they have been suffering from water problem not today. So if a borehole is there, I will tell you the borehole is there. It's not there. It's not true. You can verify. You can send team to look out for that. Mr. Speaker, my second question goes to the short-term measures, intervention. The minister provided the answer that they will be providing water using IGF. I want assurance from the minister because there is no date. You say when funds. So if it is 4 years, funds will be available. We will still be. The people will still be there without water. So when assurance?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, I cannot give him that assurance, but I believe that water is life, water is essential, and we do everything possible to ensure that the good people of his constituency get access to drinking water when money is available. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I have no further question because the assurance is not coming. So we'll be trusting God and see what God will do.
Very well. Question number 756. The name of the Honourable Member for Garu, Mr. Albert Akuka Alauzuga. Honourable Member for Garu. Very well. I'll proceed. Question number 1053. The Honourable Member for South Dai, Zarok Singh Nelson. Efiamakwa. Oh, well, maybe he doesn't intend to ask his question, so I'll proceed.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to ask the Honourable Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Flagmemi, Duga, and Tongo are villages located in the South Dai constituency in the Volta region with a total population of approximately 6,500 inhabitants. The communities are currently served by hand-dug wells and some mechanized boreholes. In April last year, Ghana Water Limited received a request for assistance to supply pipe-borne water to the aforementioned communities. The management of Ghana Water Limited directed its operations team in the Volta region to carry out an assessment on the feasibility of connecting the communities to the water supply system from Kwebi Headworks. The assessment concluded that the communities could not be connected to the 12-inch transmission pipeline that supplies Peki from Kwebi Headworks some 15 kilometers away. Due to the distance involved and the already challenged water supply situation in the whole municipality, which is supplied from the Kwebi Headworks, the idea to supply the communities from the Kwebi plant was deemed not feasible from an operational standpoint. However, since the communities are closer to the Headworks under the Ghana Water Limited Eastern Region operations, another assessment was carried out on how to serve the communities from the plant. Mr. Speaker, the findings from the assessment indicate that the communities can be served by the Dodi plant, and to this end, the following pipeline extensions are required to meet the water supply needs of the communities. 5.5 kilometer of outside diameter, 110 millimeter HDPE mains extension from Bosso to Pledemi, Duga and Top, and 1.2 kilometer of outside diameter, 160 millimeter high density polyethanol mains distribution network improvement within Enum Bosso. The estimated cost of this 3.2 million Ghana cedis. The works will be funded from the Ghana Water Limited internally generated funds. As I speak, Mr. Speaker, The pipelines for the project have been procured, and work will commence once the processes for the procurement of a contractor is completed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Speaker, let me commend the Minister for initiatives. This has been something that I've been chasing for so long. So first, I want to commend her. And two, let me also correct her by saying that the name is Pepe. Pepe, that's my capital. That means your crew. Try and meet your crew. Speaker, thank you. May I find out from the Honorable Minister that from her answer, it means the supply will come through the Dodi, the pumping station, through Enumbuso. Now, if distance is a factor, then will her ministry, will her agency, which is Ghana Water, consider pumping from Dodi, like the answer has provided, pumping from Dodi through Palimetongo to Germany, that's on a separate line, and pumping through Peve to cover for the distance about 15 kilometers, the ones you earlier on indicated. Two separate projects. I thank you.
Yes, no.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We may have to do a further assessment to see whether it will be feasible for us to do it. So I will assure the Honourable Member of Parliament that we'll take a second look at it. But this is what is on the table. Thank you.
Yes, no.
Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for her answers. And I pray that, as is indicated, when the procurement processes are gone through, the project will take off to completion quickly. I thank you.
Very well. Item 1240. Honourable Member from MF East, Mr. Nicholas Amankwa. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources what plans the Ministry has to rehabilitate and expand the Wase-Kropong water system to cater for the increased water needs of Wase-Kropong Township. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Wase-Kropong is a community in the Wasa-Benfi West District of the Western Region. The water system in the community was completed under the European Union-funded EU SWAP project in May 2010 with a design population of 8,627 people. The system is currently based on the abstraction of water from one borehole with a discharge of 17 cubic meters per hour and has a 120 cubic meters hour level tank. The water system has 14 standpipes with 20 functioning. 345 households have already been connected. The current population is estimated at 11,892, which makes water supply inadequate, resulting in its rationing to these communities. Mr. Speaker, the CWSA took over the management of the water system in July and carried out rehabilitation of the existing tank, as well as replacing leaking distribution pipelines to stabilize the water systems. A 200 millimeter diameter borehole with a relatively high yield of 36 millimeter per hour high lift yield has already been drilled to augment the source. In the immediate short term, the CWSA is in the process of mechanizing the drilled borehole to improve water production and supply to the community. And in the long term, the CWSA is planning to rehabilitate the entire water system by drilling additional boreholes to increase water production, rehabilitate the tank, replace old pipes, and extend the distribution network in the community to meet the water demand of the fast-growing towns city of Fan Speaker.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity once again. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your response. But in reference to paragraph 3 of your response, I would like to know from your end, when is the process of mechanizing the drill borehole to help improve water supply in Wasekropon, which is the municipal capital of Amenfi East? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I indicated, we are going to undertake these things in the long term. And I cannot give you that assurance that it's going to be today or tomorrow, but we are looking for funding. And whenever we have funding and available funds, we'll definitely see to the rehabilitation of the entire water system to ensure that the good people of your constituency get access to drinking water. Thank you.
Are you done? Honourable Member for Menzies, are you okay? I'll proceed to the Honourable Member for Pandai, Mr. Daniel Salah Okbal. Yes.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for opportunity to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources what plans the Minister has to connect water to the Panda Township. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister. Yes, 171.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Pandai and its environs are currently being supplied potable water from the small town water system under the Community Water and Sanitation Agency and some private handwork wells. It has been estimated that the current water demand for Pandai alone is 2,000 cubic meters per day, and this is projected to increase to 4,500 cubic meters per day by the year 2045. The current water supply to Pandai is less than 1,000 cubic meters per day, and this coupled with the increase in population requires the need for expansion of water systems. The community water system was constructed in the year 2006 under an African Development Bank funding. The water system has been non-functioning since 2017. The distribution network has 120 cubic meter high-level steel tank, which is made up of PVC pipes that have broken at several points on the pipe network. The water system was under the management of the Water and Sanitation Management Team, with the Pandai District Assembly providing an oversight role until it broke down. The community members rely on water from privately mechanized boreholes in the town for their water needs. The current population of the town is around 18,889 with a growth rate of 3.7% and is a vibrant commercial. A joint feasibility study has been carried out between CWSA, Northern Region and Skylinks Technical Services to improve the water supply system in Pandai. The River Oti is approximately 11 kilometers away from Pandai. That has been identified as a viable alternative source for the construction of the water system. Mr. Speaker, after the assessment of the existing water facility in Pandai, it was proposed that the water system should be rehabilitated, including but not limited to the stated interventions below. 1. Constructing an intake on the Oti River, 11 kilometers away from town with a treatment plant. Construction of a transmission line of 11 kilometers. Construction of an entire new distribution network, extent of the line yet to be determined, Mr. Speaker. Rehabilitation of the existing 120 cubic meter and the construction of a new tank. Erection of 20 standpipes, reduced quantity to smart taps may be recommended. And then construction of a new CWSA management office. The implementation has been scheduled to commence during this last quarter and hopefully first quarter of next year, subject to availability of funds. Mr. Speaker, in view of the above, and as part of government's agenda to ensure that there is water for all, and also in line with the SDG 6, the Ministry through Ghana Water Limited is also currently developing a water supply project for Salaga, Bimbila, Wolinsi, Bandai, and the surrounding communities. Mr. Speaker, the project is targeted at addressing the water supply challenges of 111 communities located in the two regions. That is the Savannah and the Northern regions, and in 5 municipal district assemblies. We're looking at East Konja, Bandai, Nanumba North, Nanumba South, and Yendi. The communities consist of 5 peri-urbans, namely Salaga, Bimbila, Bandai, Wallency, and Chamba, and 106 small towns and villages. These 106 communities are located along the triangular route from Salaga to Bimbila through Chamba and from Salaga to Mibila through Bandai, including the communities south of Bandai on the main road to Buya. Mr. Speaker, the feasibility study for the project has been completed and the review process is ongoing. Ghana Water is currently engaging some investors who have expressed interest in developing the project with funding from our donor partners. Once the financing arrangement is made, this project will commence. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I thank the Minister for a detailed response. However, what measures are being taken to address the water needs of Bandai and its growing population until the proposed water system improvements are implemented? Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I indicated earlier, a joint feasibility studies have already been carried out between CWSA and Skylinks Technical Services to improve the water system in Bandai. So we are working out something to ensure that the good people of Bandai have access to pure quality drinking water. We are not relenting on our efforts to provide water for his community. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. From the answers, the last page, for the last paragraph, it said once the financing is arranged, the project will commence. Honourable Minister, I think I asked your predecessor the same question in 2021, and her responses were so sexy and sweet than what I'm hearing from you now. Can you give the timeline when this financing arrangement will be complete? Thank you.
Yes, Minister. Make your answer a little set.
Thank you very much. I think, Mr. Speaker, I've also provided some sweet answers for him as well, because I've indicated that the feasibility study for the project has already been completed and the review process is ongoing, and that Ghana Water is currently engaging some investors who have expressed the desire and the interest in developing the project with funding from donor partners. So I believe this is also sweet. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable Minister, I want to thank you once again, but I want to make a suggestion. During the COVID 2020, 2 boreholes were drilled and mechanized for the aim of being connected to the reservoir at Moura. As I speak, the drilling is completed but has been hanging at Dubum and Alasuna, narrowed line down. Narrowed line down. Is it possible for the ministry, in collaboration with the District Assembly, to consider connecting the abandoned project to the reservoir and the main water system for Bandai Township? Thank you.
Yes, Honourable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I cannot stand here and speak for the District Assembly as of now, but we'll collaborate with them, engage them, and find out exactly what can be done. Thank you.
Very well. Question number 1743, Honourable Member for Yilo Krobo, Dr. Albert Tetenya Kote. Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources when the water extension project from Uhunya to Boti to Agogo to Opesika to Sutapon and Akpo Atamu and the surrounding communities in the Ilokrobo constituency, which stalled since December 2016, will be completed.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the supply of potable water in the Ilokrobo municipality is provided by both the Community Water and Sanitation Agency and the Ghana Water Limited. The communities are mainly served by a point source scheme which is managed on the basis of community ownership. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Water Limited is currently undertaking a pipeline replacement and extension works throughout the whole country in its bid to improve water supply to the underserved and unserved. The work is being done in phases with Ghana Water Limited's internally generated funds. As part of this program, Ghana Water plans to extend pipeline works to connect and complete the pipeline replacement works from Buhunya to Boti, Agogo, Opesika, Sutapon, Akpo, Akamu, and the surrounding communities. The work is planned to be undertaken in the second phase of the program. Furthermore, interconnections will also be undertaken on the existing transmission mains serving Koforidua from the booster station at Proceedings. The works are expected to be completed as part of the broader pipeline improvement program by the end of the first quarter of 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With all these interventions, when all these interventions are completed, the aforementioned communities in the Ilokrobo constituency will see improved water supply services. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Yeah, right, Honorable Speaker, I have a follow-up question. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for her response. At least it gives my people hope. But I wanted to assure my people that the project will come to fruition or the project will be completed. I'm asking for this assurance because right here in this chamber in June 2022, when I asked the same question, her predecessor promised to have it done by the end of third quarter 2022, and it wasn't done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's the vision of my ministry and for that matter, my government to ensure that the good people of Ghana get access to good quality drinking water. And we are already done with the first phase. So when the second phase, we start with the second phase, it's likely, and I've given you that the hope that will definitely take care of these communities. Thank you.
Yeah, I wish to thank the minister for, as my colleague said, for her sweet words. I want the sweet words to come through. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, from Tetenyakote to Tetenyakon of Upper Menyako.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Speaker, my question is to find out from the Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources. When the water extension project, when the contractor will commence work on the Bukuno Water Treatment Plant extension project from Bukuno to communities in the Upper Manyakrobo district. Thank you, Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Bukono Water Treatment Plant has a design capacity of 19,400 cubic meters per day, and it was completed in 2009 with funding from Belgium. As part of the works under the project, approximately 35 kilometers of transmission pipeline was laid from Bukono to Koforidua. Standpipes were also provided along the transmission pipeline to serve communities on that stretch. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Water Limited has drawn up a proposal for the extension of water to the other parts of Upper Menyakrobo district and its environs at an estimated cost of 8,612,000, which is being implemented in phases. Mr. Speaker, currently the Ghana Water has laid 16.6 kilometers of 160 millimeter HGP pipelines from Utrope to Asasehini as part of the phase 1 of the project. The project, when completed, will serve as Tasihine, Mensa Dawa, Dawa, Kolewa, Kono Dawa, Akatawia, Sekasua, and Otrope. The project is expected to be completed by the second quarter of 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, thank you, and thank the colleague minister for the response. Speaker, when you refer to 15th of February 2023, I asked same question, and the minister at column 15 of the official report told this House that the project will be completed by the end of the second quarter of this year. Speaker, as at May this year, the contractor was not on the road. That is why I filed this question. Speaker, you can bear with me that the minister has still not told us when the contractor will commence work. Speaker, the question is, when will the contractor commence work at Bukuno to extend water to other parts of Upper Manyakrobo? That has not been stated in the question. Speaker, if the minister can still answer my question. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, work is ongoing in his constituency. Some pipes have been laid, and I just mentioned that we are working on the second phase of the project. So I'm surprised that he's still insisting that there's no contractor at work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry, if I understand you, you mean, Honorable Minister, there's a contractor on site. Is that your suggestion? Very well.
Speaker, the phase one that involved the laying of the pipes were done in 2016. Speaker, if my colleague will be able to help me with the name of the contractor on the road as of now. As of this morning, I know there's no contractor on that road. Phase one was completed in 2016. Between 2016 and this very morning, there hasn't been any contractor on the road. So if my colleague can please mention the name of the contractor so that we'll look for him. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can get the contractor's name to this House. But I want to state here as part of my answer that we stated that the project is expected to be completed by the second quarter of 2024. So the project is ongoing, and we are almost done with the phase one of the project, and we intend to do the phase two as well. Thank you.
Very well. I'll move on to question number 1856 by the honorable member for Techima North, Mrs. Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources what steps the ministry is taking to provide potable water for the following communities in the Techima North constituency: Demfa, Duna, Nyamebechre, Tanukrum, Kwame Repera, Breakso, Kofikrum, Amansem, and Boadan. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Techima surface water supply system, which supplies water to the aforementioned communities, was commissioned in 1997 and has an installed capacity of 4,500 cubic meters per day. Mr. Speaker, over the years, there's not been any major rehabilitation and expansion to meet the ever-increasing water demand for the supply area. The water supply system is based on surface water, that's the Tano River, and groundwater obtained from the mechanized boreholes. Mr. Speaker, as a result of population and economic growth in the Techima municipality, it has become necessary to expand the existing water supply system to meet the current and future water demands of Techima and some identified beneficiary towns. The government has secured a grant of 100 million from the Korean Exim Bank to finance the project. The project is scheduled to be completed within 36 months after commencement. The beneficiary communities for the project include, Mr. Speaker, Tanoso, Kuntunse, Akumadai, Nkenkensu, Takofiano, Techimai Tiobodom, New Techimai, Ahensia, Sadieso, Afrancho, Jama Krobo, Akrofrom, Arowa, and the surrounding environment. Mr. Speaker, the scope of the project includes 1. Rehabilitation of the existing raw water intake and the treatment plant 4,500 cubic meters per day. Construction of a weir with a capacity of 550,000 millimeters on the Tano River. Construction of new intake and water treatment plants with a capacity of 17,000 cubic meters per day. Transmission pipelines with a total length of 25 kilometers. Distribution pipelines with a total length of 147 kilometers. Booster pumping stations. Service pipelines complete with meters. And public standpipes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The current status of the project is as indicated below. Parliament granted approval for the loan agreement on 5th November 2020. The loan agreement was signed on 17 December 2020. Request for proposal for the consultant for the design and construction supervision was issued to shortlisted firms for submissions by 12 February 2021. Mr. Speaker, evaluation of the technical proposals for the shortlisted firms has been completed and the evaluation report has been approved by the Korea Exim Bank. The contractor for the consultancy services has been prepared and sent to the Korean Exim Bank for their no objection for contract signature and for the works to commence. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm grateful to the Honorable Minister for elaborate answer. He stated that 100 million loan facility from Korean Exim has been secured. He's given us the status. The only important outstanding matter is the date of commencement. Can the Minister be kind enough to tell us around what time the project is supposed to commence?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. As I indicated, the contractor for the consultancy services has already been prepared and sent to the Korean Exim Bank for their no objection for the contract signature and for the works to commence. They've responded to our letter and requested for further better particulars which we submitted to them. So we are hopeful that very soon the project will commence. Thank you.
Yes.
Very grateful for that answer as well. Mr. Speaker, the Minister indicated that when the project is done, Krobo, Akrofrom, Arowa, Sobodom, all in my constituency will benefit and its environment. If you look at the Jiman North, you will see that areas like Duna, Buadan, and Demfa are not close to any of these communities. Will the Minister think of placing boreholes in these three communities, as the completion of this project on its own will not help connect to these communities? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, as I indicated, water is life, sanitation is life, and water is essential. So we may consider due to availability of funds. Thank you.
You're done. Very well. So you take the next question, 1857.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources what plans the ministry has to help relocate dam sites situated in residential areas in the following communities in the Techuma North constituency: Tobodom, Arowa, and Akrofrom. I thank you.
Yes, no, Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the primary responsibility for the management of dam sites and refuges in general are the core mandates of the various metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. The ministry's core mandate is to provide policy guidance and some interventions to support the MMDAs in the management of waste in the country. Mr. Speaker, as and when the ministry is able to source funding from projects, some interventions can be provided to evacuate these dam sites by the core mandate of the Ministry of Local Government. Unfortunately, the Ministry has no budget lines to do that in the foreseeable future. May I use this opportunity to appeal to all MMDAs to continue to strengthen their internal systems to ensure effective management of refuse. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Looking at paragraph 2 of the Honorable Minister's answer, I was soothing when he said that, when she indicated that she will be able to sort out funding and then give some intervention. Then, just before she finishes, she says, the ministry has no budget line to do that in the foreseeable future. It is not encouraging. If you say in one breath...
Honorable, do you make allocations to the ministry for that?
The budget has not been done. So if you even end up, if there is budgetary allocation, I will take it. But if you say in the not foreseeable future, it's as if you don't think that this will ever happen. So if you are looking for funding, yes, look for funding. But if you say not in the foreseeable future, it means that you are not willing to work very hard to ensure that it happens. And that, I think people from Techman not listening to you will not be happy at all. So if you look for funds, end it there. But if you add not in the foreseeable future, I think it's so discouraging. So if you can kindly assure us that you work hard to let us have it, I think that would be a better answer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about two issues here. It's not the ministry's core mandate to undertake the project that she wants us to do for her. But what I said was, we will try as much as possible to source funding from some of our projects, from our project funds to support this project. But it's not part of our budget line, and we cannot have that as part of our budget line. So unfortunately, if we got me wrong, it's not part of our budget line. We'll try as a Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources to seek support from our donor funds or from our projects to support this program for you. But it's not part of our budget line. That one, I have to be clear on that. Thank you. It's not that I'm saying that the ministry has no budget line in the unforeseeable future. You must be with the people you are dealing with. Your constituents want to see through to this. But I'm telling you that we will try as a ministry to seek support from our donor partners to support this project. But this particular project is not part of our budget line. It's under the Ministry of Local Government. Thank you, my sister.
I find some of these... Oh, sorry, you're not done.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's very interesting that the core mandate of the Ministry of Water Resources is not water, but it's with local sanitation and water resources. And then sanitation doesn't have to do anything with refuse. It's okay. But let me ask this one. What policy, you said that, this is a comment, let me ask my follow-up question. It is very interesting, I said, that the Ministry of Sanitation does not deal with refuse dump. That's what I said. But I move to my next question. You have indicated that your core mandate is to give policy direction and assistance. May I respectfully ask what policy direction and assistance your ministry has provided in the management of waste relevant to Techman North? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We provided policy assistance and direction to many parts or many constituencies and MMDCs in this country. And as I indicated earlier, I'm surprised that my sister is trying to get me wrong on this footing, that the core mandate of the MMDCs is to ensure that waste is evacuated and the garbages are lifted from time to time. The MMDCs, the district assemblies, they sign with the private service providers to evacuate refuse. That particular contract, Mr. Speaker, It's not the core mandate of my ministry. My ministry collaborates and we support the MMDAs with policy guidance and support when the need arises. Recently, we supported some MMDAs with trucks, we supported them with waste bins, we supported them with a lot of education, a lot of waste materials as well. So as and when we get funding under our interventions or under our programs, we support the MMDAs. So it's not the core mandate that we see to the collection of refuse at the district assembly level. We've done a lot of work with the district assembly and we'll continue to collaborate with the district assemblies. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the last question. Is the Attorney General here? We still have 2 questions. Is he here? Well, we have 2 urgent questions for the Attorney General to answer. But frankly, why are we not asking the district assemblies to evacuate rubbish? Are they not the agencies that take the local fees? So why should we, after they have taken the local fees, bring the bill to anybody outside here? And we are encouraging negligence on their part because we will get ministers to come and answer. But I think we should hold our district assemblies responsible for the things that they are set up to do. I think it is time we, as members of the district assembly, ask them to do what they are set up to do. I truly think that we should do more in that respect. What should I do? Well, yes.
Honourable Speaker, this is a very important point you've raised, especially when it comes to the issue of sanitation at the local levels. It's a very frustrating situation. I've found myself occasionally having to intervene to help address issues of, waste that has basically engulfed whole communities, and it's as if the district assembly doesn't care. But, how do we hold DCs accountable? The DC can only be held accountable by the Minister of Local Government, rising to him. I think we must get to a point where DCs probably must be summoned to come and answer questions in Parliament. I mean, it's a proposal. I've thought about it.
But the Committee on Local Government can't invite the DCs. They come and
I've
they should.
never seen it happen.
It never happened, but that's the point I'm making. We should hold them accountable. They have stopped collecting even local levies. And people eat, carry their rubbish, dump it somewhere, and call on others to come and pay to clear it. It's not right. The same thing with public toilets. You go and build it for them, the communities sit there, collect fees for using it, and then they come to MP or go to DC, come and repair this, come and repair that, after they have collected fees for people to use it. I mean, yes, it's full, come and drain it when they have collected fees. We should, at the time, we ask people to take responsibility for the things they're being asked to do. Because of votes, we are afraid to say so many things, all of us. Yes, we are allowing, but if we stand together on these matters, we can ask them to do what they're encouraged to. Anyway, Honourable Minister, thank you for attending upon the House to answer questions. You are discharged. Yes. I think I should want to bring proceedings to a close.
Yes, Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
yeah.
I have to make a point about the Attorney General's absence. Yeah, but it is important that we know. You just said something about it. Mr. Speaker, this House cannot invite a Minister of State who's supposed to come and answer. And these are not ordinary questions, urgent questions. And he's not here. None of his deputies are here. There's no explanation as to why he's not here. Available leader can't even explain his whereabouts. 30 minutes before the questions from the Honorable Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, I hinted the availability to try and reach out to the Attorney General to be here before we finish. He couldn't get me a response. Unfortunately, he doesn't even have an Attorney General. You do?
But it's not acceptable. At the business committee, you will deal with those matters.
It's not acceptable.
Thank you very much. Yes. Honourable members, the House is adjourned till Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.